Okay, so as you know, chimps are one of the most lovable animals. You see them on TV, you see them everywhere, on commercials, movies, chimps, Tarzan. I mean, you got all these great shows and movies, but what they really don't tell you is that a majority of these entertainment chimps you see in the movies are actually babies. Yes, under a year old. The babies definitely have that sort of white texture face. That's how you can tell. When they get older, they do get darker. And there's a huge difference between a baby chimp and a full-grown adult chimp. Now, you can say that females are definitely less aggressive. But once a chimp gets to full maturity, especially a male, he changes. He becomes definitely much more aggressive, to the point where humans can't even go in and interact with them. They are inherently very dominant animals, and chimps are so intelligent that they will know at a certain age in their adulthood that they're stronger, faster than humans. And when they do come to this conclusion, it is extremely dangerous, even with their owners. Okay, so it's vitally important that people understand that the chimps and the babies that you see in the movies and in TV are way different. Now, recently, this culture where chimps are nice and it's fun and things of that nature has opened up wide open, right? And now people realize the truth about these animals. Now, there's nothing wrong if these are animals, right? This is their instinct. Unfortunately, there are people who, like this woman here, who bought a chimp. She raised it as her own, and of course, it attacked her friend, severely mauled her friend. And of course, people got firsthand to see the brutalization that these animals can do. And there are stories all over Africa, right, of chimps pulling people from cars, dragging them into the jungle, things of how dangerous chimps are. In Africa, where chimps roam and where they live, in certain parts of Africa, the villagers and locals can't stand chimps. They have a deep hatred for chimps because they've seen how violent these animals can get. Now, chimps are not bad animals. They're not you can't demonize these animals. It's just instinctively what they are. And it's more of the movie and TV show's fault for basically making them look like they're all passive and friendly and domesticated. And people don't understand that these are not straight up wild animals. And they share a lot of traits, very similar traits with humans, right? Humans are angry, mean, they lust for power, right? Humans have great tendencies to do the greatest evils, but humans have the greatest tendencies to do the greatest goods, the nicest things, to be nice and kind to others, to help people, to have social sort of societies where they help each other out and they look out for one another and they show love and affection. And chimps do the same thing as well. They show emotions. They help each other. There are times when chimps are extremely loving to one another, and there are times when they're at war with each other. So they have all the traits. They're 99% of the human makeup genome, right? They have that same sort of genetic makeup that humans have. There's only 1% that's different from humans and chimps. So they're the closest other species that's related to humans. And the similarities between us and chimps are very, very similar, right? So these animals are very, very powerful, very, very violent. It was only found recently that they like to eat meat. They used to be thought that people thought they were herbivores. They thought that they were like gorillas, where they just ate fruit and vegetables and insects, but they're not. They are meat eaters. They catch other monkeys and they eat them, and they use them as sort of trophies. And it's sort of like a craving to hunt, to eat animal, to eat flesh. It's very, very disturbing in parts, but it's just a natural animal instinct, and human instinct is collided with that, right? We go hunting too. So it's sort of on the same deal, how similar chimps are to people. But chimps are very, very smart. They're problem-solving intelligence. And it's definitely an animal that people now know, thanks to shows like Chimp Eden and other shows where they've rescued chimps. People have gotten to see the power and sort of the brutality of large size chimps. So up to the recent attacks, and people have seen the last recent attack with the woman and her favorite chimp that she raised, a lot of people are finally noticed that chimps are not animals, the cuddly little cute little animals you've seen in the movies. So people are more educated. So yes, a lot of people don't hate chimps, but now they respect them and to give them their space. Right? You see a chimp, leave it alone, right? If you're in sort of going on an African tour or whatever, stay away from it, right? Don't bother them, right? Look at them from a distance, right? When you go to the zoo, don't tease them through the glass, right? It's an animal that if it gets out, it's going to go after you most likely. So these are animals that need to be respected, but it's just amazing to see, the brutalization and the similarities between chimps and humans and how closely they are related to us. Chimps are a great sort of animal, one of the probably the smartest of animals next to humans. And, they're just very, very intelligent, problem solving animals, but they carry that brutalization that humans carry, and on a larger scale because they are extremely powerful, right? What do chimps do? The classic aggressiveness for chimps, right, when they are attacking someone or something, is they do this sort of their playbook. And what their playbook is that they bite off your hands, bite off your genitals, bite off your feet, and bite off your face. These are all defense mechanisms that you have inherently to defend yourself, and they know those are the first things to go for. And when they're gone, you're basically defenseless, and they can do whatever they want to you. They can toy with you, they can play with you, they can slowly destroy you. And that is very, very an animal that meticulously is evil-minded, right? It's amazing how an animal can think this way, to be how intelligent it knows how to basically torture its victims to death. The brutality that these animals have. And guess what also does this type of thing? Humans, right? We are at war, we capture an enemy and we torture them for information and do terrible things to them, right? So similar to humans, and these are basically our closest relatives. So once again, and I say this with any type of animal, these are animals that need to be respected, need to be left alone, and people need to not encroach on their habitats, right? They're not expanding out looking to go and live in cities and hurt and maim and hurt people, right? They're hanging out in their jungle, doing their thing, and humans are approaching on their habitats and going at them, and they're defending their territory. So let's leave these animals alone, enjoy them at afar, and realize how brutal these chimps can be. I think it was Michael Jackson's he had that famous chimp named Bubbles, right? And as Bubbles was great, he walked around with Bubbles, he was cute. Everyone's, it's Michael Jackson with Bubbles, right? And then as Bubbles matured and became a full adult, Michael Jackson had to keep him in a cage at Neverland Ranch, and no one could go by Bubbles, not even Michael Jackson himself, who raised the baby, right? Trainers had to stay away from Bubbles, and that was the fact that people didn't know, especially around that time, that chimps, all those chimps were babies, all the ones in the shows and the ones that Michael Jackson hung around with, and that these animals should be, when they're adults, should be left in their own habitat. Let them run around, give them a place where they can just hang out and be chimps and actually, not bother people. But if you mix these animals with people, eventually terrible instances like what happened with this woman here with her pet chimp, how these things can turn extremely tragic. The chimp wound up being shot and killed for being a chimp, and that's the sad part about it. So once again, admire these animals. Remember that they are wild animals and they need to be respected and left alone. So thank you for checking out this video, and we'll see you again in the next. Go!